Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn, the insane Darryl Wayne, twiddling the knobs and pulling the sliders up and down. We used to call those pots. Are they still called pots?
Faders.
Faders. Now they're faders. They used to be pots, don't it? Potentiometers. That is about as technical as I ever get. Our guest this next segment of the show is Coach Derek Locklear. 15 years ago, with 5 kids, he started serving inner city kids in the LA area. Today, he reaches over 1,000 kids a week. Coach Derek, thank you for helping, and thank you for being on Late Night Health.
Mark, I appreciate it, and yeah, definitely. Thank you for the opportunity.
How did you come up with the idea of working with kids? Is it something you always wanted to do?
No, not at all. My dream was to be the next starting shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles, and the universe had other plans. So as baseball was slowly leaving my life, the opportunity to do some part-time work at the local YMCA over 26 years ago came up, and I started working with kids and realized that I had a lot of natural God-given gifts to connect, motivate, and teach, and been running with it ever since.
How much is your mental attitude, your spirituality, how much of that makes Coach Derek to help others?
Yeah, Mark, that's a great question. And I tell you, over the years, I have learned that you really can't help anyone unless you love yourself. And there have been times in my life where, I wasn't able to love myself. And so I would seek out opportunities to serve and help others to feel good. And the results weren't always as positive as they could be, or they could have been. And then, after doing a lot of work on myself, both personally as well as spiritually, I was able to change my perspective and how I see myself and how I love myself. And what that does is put me in a much better position and in a much better place to really help, in my case, children in an authentic way, so that I'm not looking to get anything back. It is an absolute free gift. Therefore, I don't need anything from them. I'm just showing up for them.
That would work with adults too, it would seem to me. That's a great...
I tell you, you're right, Mark. Again, I can look back in relationships, whether it be, friends, family, intimate relationships. If you don't show up in a place where, you're able to love yourself, it's really hard to love others. Absolutely.
In our first hour, we were talking with Robert Clancy, whose basic message is that love heals everything. And we talked to a breast cancer survivor who said, love is what got me through it from my family. And
wow.
And now we're ending our show with you saying, love is it. Love is right?
That's crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, right, Mark, if I don't have that, especially with children too, I mean, they can sense and they can pick up if you're just trying to fake it to make it, or if you're being authentic. And that's the one thing I love. Well, there's a couple things I love when it comes to working with children. One is they can see right through you, and if you're willing to look with them, and if you're willing to change, right? If you're willing to change, good things can happen. And two is how much I'm able to learn from them. But yeah, man.
Well, then you are getting something from them.
I guess so, right?
Right.
I'm getting more of a self-awareness, and I'm being reminded on a constant basis that it's okay to say things like, I don't know. It's always okay to say, can you repeat that just so I'm clear? And I can look back in a lot of situations in my life where I just wish I would have said, I don't know, or could you repeat that? Because that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Got it. Do you miss baseball? Do you miss playing? Or do you play with the kids?
You know, I did for a long time. I was able to play some ball in college, and again, I hung on to that dream for about until I was about 22, 23 years of age. And there were some years where I struggled personally with my own identity, having not being able to play baseball. So I missed it. I wasn't really sure who I was without it. And that's where the university, it was amazing how, again, one thing was being taken away, but then there was another one that was being presented to me. And
one door opens, one door closes, and another opens.
Exactly. That is the story of my life, as it is, I'm sure, most everyone else. But,
do you have kids of your own?
I don't.
Actually, you do. You have 1,000 a week.
Well, yeah, I do. I have a lot of children. I've been blessed and lucky enough to work with a lot of children over the years. So I definitely get my kid fixed there for sure.
When you're in the market and somebody comes over to you, and says, "Hey, Coach, do you remember me? I was, with you 15 years ago. Today I'm a lawyer." Mm-hmm. Does that kind of thing happen?
All the time. It happens all the time, and what a wonderful feeling. What a wonderful feeling. Now, my girlfriend wishes there was a little bit of anonymity, but it happens a lot.
And again, you're getting something back from that.
Yeah, it is a really good feeling to know that you have impacted someone in a positive way, that you're remembered. I'm not going to lie to you. That definitely does stroke the ego a lot.
There's nothing wrong with that. I would love to get hold of some of my high school teachers and thank them. Daryl has a question.
Not really a question, just a comment. Before the coach's time, but there used to be a guy in television many years ago by the name of Art Linkletter. And he used to do a program where he talked to kids all the time. Kids say the darndest things.
Yes.
And they did a show where they were paying tribute to Art Linkletter, and they said, "Are there any questions from the audience?" And one gentleman stood up and said, "Matter of fact, I was one of the kids on your show."
Wow.
And he said that he was grown. He was in his 40s, probably 40, 45. And the MC said, "Are there any other kids in the audience that were on his show?" Everyone stood up.
No.
Everyone in the auditorium stood up.
Wow.
Oh, that gives me goosebumps.
Me too. Wow. That's amazing.
So you really don't realize, how many lives you touch and what happens as a result.
Steve Harvey's, I understand, is coming back with that next year. With that show.
Yeah.
And he's already done some kind of goofy stuff along that line.
Yeah, he does. He is the hottest thing right now. Lynn Farley has a question for you.
Hi. You sound like a life coach, but you have a baseball background. I grew up with a coach. My father, Rusty Fairley, was the brother of Ron Fairley, who played first base for the Dodgers for years and years and years. And growing up with a coach it was very different than I think growing up from maybe, a dad who was a lawyer, for example. And the things he taught us just naturally as a father was had a lot to do with sportsmanship. Do you teach sportsmanship to your kids? And why are you called a coach? Is it because you're a life coach? Or how did you get... or baseball.
Well, no, I tell you, my biggest thing is I teach children how to play sport. And I started as young as 2 and go all the way up until about 12 to 13 years of age. So that's where the coach comes from. But as far as sportsmanship, absolutely. Teaching children not to get too high with the wins so that they don't have to get too low with the losses. Teaching children that it's not about the end of the game and the scoreboard, but it's how you're able to compete within yourself. Because I think those things are going to translate much, much longer and much deeper into their lives. Because, it's a very small number that will continue to play in high school. There's a very even smaller number that'll play in college, and even smaller number that's going to play post-college. So these life lessons are the things that matter to me the most. If I could do anything to impact a child, it is to learn that competition is not a bad thing, but what you do with it means everything.
And by the way, the last time that I followed the Dodgers, Ron was still playing.
How about that?
I just wanted you to know that.
He's never been out of baseball.
No,
never.
No.
Thank you. I love that answer. And so that
That's
does,
fantastic.
in an interesting way, make you a life coach, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. Right. I mean, even in my motto is field life lessons and inspiring field lessons. So we do it. That stuff matters. And it matters to me. Therefore, it matters to my staff. We don't cut any corners. We don't cut any corners to win, and we don't blame anyone when we lose. And that's
we just try to be better next time.
And then there's that, right? There's to know that there's going to be a next time, and it's not the end of the world. Therefore, there's no big deals. That's another thing that we say all the time, that these are no big deals. You can turn on the news at any point of any day, and you can listen to and watch a lot of much bigger deals than what we're doing. So.
With all the kids that you see, and I'm assuming your staff as well, see 1,000 kids a week, are there any that, are like the proverbial horse to water? You can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. Are there kids who are a little bit more challenged, and how do you work with them?
Well, that's a very good question. The short answer is yes. There's a lot of challenges that children face, and I tell you, Mark, the one thing that I've realized, having done a lot of work on the west side of Los Angeles, where resources are unlimited, and the east side of Los Angeles, where there's not a lot of resources, is the one thing that they tend to have in common is the lack of fathers in their lives. The wealthy folks on the west side, their father's busy, creating that lifestyle. And then, of course, on the east side, they're not available for much different reasons.
Right.
So our job.
I'm going to hold on a second. I'm
Okay.
going to stop you there. We're going to take a timeout, and
Okay.
we're going to talk about the mission, if you will, the job
Okay.
of Coach Derek, Inc.
Perfect.
I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Darrell Wayne, Lynn Farley joining us as well. Don't go away. More coming up. Join us at latenighthealth.com and facebook.com/latenighthealthradio. Like us there, and I promise we'll like you back. How's that? More coming up as Late Night Health moves forward.
Welcome to Guide to the Soul. This is Robert Clancy. When your life's problems seem to rise and fall like the waves on a stormy ocean, let hope become your life raft and faith become your paddle. Every sea touches a calm shoreline somewhere in the world, and eventually this storm that you're going through will pass too. Never allow negative circumstances to define you. Whatever happens to you in life may be fated, and it certainly can't be changed after the fact. What you can change is how you feel about it and how you're going to let it affect you. Today is a brand new day, and as with any gift, share it with love and gratitude.
For more inspiration from Robert Clancy, visit guidetothesoul.com or go to the Moments with Robert page on latenighthealth.com.
Are you being audited, and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate a lower tax bill. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will fight for you using industry secrets that can stop any IRS actions, eliminate penalties and interest, and reduce your past tax bill so you pay the IRS less. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the Tax Doctor now for a free IRS audit emergency review.
800-663-5107. 800-663-5107. 800-663-5107. That's 800-663-5107.